This is PNP News in depth, and we've got MJ from Constitutional Corner, Bama Camera, and Time to Stand. Time to Stand is muted. He's just watching in right now because he's got a bunch of background noise. And I know that some of the people that listen to this part here may wonder why we just did that. But we're leading into something because there's going to be another part to this later, and we're going to start taking steps to explain the different reasons why the cops can't do what they try to do sometimes. So, MJ, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. This is MJ from Constitutional Corner, and nothing that I say here today should be taken as legal advice. However, I did want to discuss the elements of what is needed to prove in many crimes, or most crimes. I wanted to start out today with mens rea. Mens rea is Latin for guilty mind. It is the mental element of a crime and is necessary. It is a necessary element of many crimes. The standard common law test of criminal liability is expressed in the Latin phrase actus reus, non facit reum nisi mens sit rea. The act is not culpable unless the mind is guilty. In jurisdictions with due process, there must be both actus reus, guilty act, and mens rea for a defendant to be guilty of a crime. See concurrence. As a general rule, someone who acted without mental fault is not liable in criminal law. Exceptions are known as strict liability crimes, and we can get into those later. In civil law, it is usually not necessary to prove subjective mental element to establish liability for breach of contract or tort. For example, but if a tort is intentionally committed, a contract is intentionally breached, such as many increase the scope of liability, which is another thing we can discuss another time, and the damages payable to the plaintiff. Excuse me. In some jurisdictions, the terms mens reus and actus reus have been replaced by alternative terminology, fault of elements, mental elements, and physical elements or external elements. The point of changes was replaced to obscure Latin with simpler words. Everybody following along so far? Any questions?
Yes, ma'am. I'm good.
Okay, let me move over to well, I'll do levels of mens rea real quick. Under the traditional common law, the guilt or innocence of a person relied upon whether he had committed the crime, actus reus, whether he had intended to commit the crime, mens rea. However, many modern penal codes have created levels of mens rea called modes of culpability, which depend on the surrounding elements of the crime. The conduct, the circumstances, and the result, or what the modal panel calls CAR, conduct, attendant, circumstances, result. The definition of a crime is thus constructed using these elements rather than a colorful language of mens rea. So let me pull up actus reus and we can get a better view of that. Okay, actus reus. Actus reus, sometimes called the external element or the objective element of a crime, is the Latin term for guilty act, which when proven beyond a reasonable doubt in combination with mens rea, guilty mind, produces criminal liability in the common law jurisdictions, and it's found in many different countries: Wales, Canada, Australia, India, Pakistan, South Africa, many of them, Scotland, Colombia, and the United States of America. In the United States of America, some crimes also require proof of attendant circumstances, which we can get into another time as well. The term actus reus and mens rea, developed in English law, derived from the principle stated by Edward Coke, namely actus non non facet reum nisi mens sit rea, which means the act does not make a person guilty unless their mind is guilty. Hence, the general test of guilt is one that requires proof of fault, culpability, or blameworthiness. And basically the act, in order for an actus reus to be committed, there has to have been an act. Various common law jurisdictions define act differently, but generally an act is a bodily movement, whether voluntary or involuntary, and you can see this in Robinson v. California, 370 U.S. 660, 1962. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that California law making it illegal to be a drug addict was unconstitutional because the mere status of being a drug addict was not an act, thus not criminal. Commenter Dennis Baker asserts, although lawyers find expression actus reus convenient, it is misleading in one respect. It means not just the criminal act, but the external elements of an offense. There is a criminal act, which is what makes the term actus reus generally acceptable. But there are crimes without act, and therefore without actus reus in the obvious meaning of the term, the expression conduct is more satisfactory. So far, anybody?
Yep.
Yep.
We're going. Act of sexual intercourse becomes a wrongful act if it is committed in circumstances where one party does not consent and or more parties concerned are below the age of consent. Other require the act to produce legally forbidden consequence, such as crimes called result crimes. And that can be truly said without exception. Oops, sorry, guys, about that. I forgot to mute my, or turn off. Anyway, all that can be truly said without exception is that the crime requires some external site of affairs that can be categorized as criminal. What goes on inside the person's head is never enough to constitute a crime, even though it might be proven or proved by a confession that is believed to be genuine. That's mens rea and actus reus. The last one I wanted to go over real quickly is corpus delicti. And I'm pulling that up. Okay, corpus delicti. Delicti, body of the crime. Hold on. Okay. Plural corpora delicti is a term from the Western jurisprudence referring to the principle that a crime must be proven to have occurred before a person can be convicted of committing that crime. For example, a person cannot be tried for larceny unless it can be proven that the property has been stolen. Likewise, in order for a person to be tried for arson, it must be proven that the criminal act resulted in the burning of a property. Black Law's Dictionary, 6th edition, defines corpus delicti as the fact of a crime having been actually committed. In the Anglo-American legal system, the concept has outgrowth in several principles. Many jurisdictions hold as a legal rule defendants out-of-court confession alone is sufficient evidence to prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. A corollary to this is that an accused cannot be convicted solely upon the testimony of an accomplice. Some jurisdictions also hold that without the first independent corroboration that a crime happened, the prosecution may not introduce evidence of the defendant's statement. And that's corpus delicti. that's pretty much what I wanted to share the last time we were all together, but I didn't get a chance because my mom got sick. So.
Yeah, and no problem. We understood.
Thinking, liking, perception is not illegal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know that some of the people that listen to this part here may wonder why we just did that. But we're leading into something because there's going to be another part to this later. And we're going to start taking steps to explain the different reasons why the cops can't do what they try to do sometimes. Like in Texas 3802, they kind of try to ignore it. And we'll be going into some of the paperwork more in depth to have. Now, we can't do every state, but we can give you some pretty good paperwork to have with you that'll cover you in pretty much every state. Like Supreme Court decisions, etc. And RAS, that's pretty much anywhere. I don't know of any place in the United States that RAS doesn't count, even though the cops like to pretend it doesn't. So we'll go into that.
It's definitely prevalent in every state. Yeah, it's definitely prevalent in every state, which is why I wanted to go over the elements of a crime. Knowing these things can really help you in the future, especially new cop watchers and new testers and people that go out and do the filming and stuff. This is important stuff to know.
Well, and some people don't know where. They know that law exists, but they don't know where it came from. And to basically fully understand what some of these laws are and why they're in place, you have to understand where they came from. So anyway, that's why we're doing this. It's kind of a lead up to more. We're not going to go real far into tonight, but Time to Stand, Constitutional Corner needed to get this done early because she's got business to take care of. So I wanted to get this done and get this step out of the way so she could go on to taking care of what she needs to take care of.
Yeah. That's really important because I think what a lot of people don't understand, again, going back to myths, and not only myths, but we see it from both sides. There's a saying, you can justify the means, right? You ever heard, you've heard that. Most people see it as a left-wing communist type propaganda, but everyone does it. They just have their own version that fits their ideology.
Yeah, how far will they go to get what they want?
Right. So it's not a partisan thing. It's like all the way on the right side's got their version of it. Yeah. The ends justify the means to meet their ideology on the political spectrum. All the way on the left, you have that same thing. The ends justify the means. Predominantly, it's thought of as a left-wing type thing, but it's really
everybody does it for different things, different
types,
right,
different ideologies. So that's what's important about America. Like it or not, America is a republic, and rights supersede any type of feels, any type of what I want.
Like we hear a lot of the times on an audit, or especially on the Second Amendment audit, but on the First Amendment audits too. Well, you're upsetting people, you're disturbing people, you're scaring people. Well, it doesn't matter. Right. It's not illegal. And if they're scared of me being out there with a camera, and it's not my problem. It's your problem. And I don't have to ID myself just because somebody called in and scared, because they could be scared of me wearing a pink shirt. Well, I don't wear a pink shirt, but if I did, So
it's a free country. If you can't handle it, stay at home.
Yeah, I don't look good in pink, so I don't wear them.
I don't know. I was going to buy you a pink polo.
Oh, man. Shh, don't tell everybody.
But no,
the only way I would do that is if I had one of my old Western shirts faded out from red to pink. So.
And again, we're talking, in public, obviously. Obviously you can't go into a restroom and all that kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We're talking about public,
Yeah, we're talking about how we conduct our audits. which we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing is legal. We're in public. We already know that what we can film anything we can see, you know, so it doesn't matter if it's a federal building or a judge walking out of a federal building or a police officer or these people that insist on walking up and complaining that they're on video when they weren't on video until they stuck their face in front of the camera.
Exactly.
I think a lot of
Oh, good news, guys.
What?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Bama.
Oh, I was just going to say there's also a lot of confusion as far as filming. Well, obviously, if it's commercial, not commercial as far as monetizing your channel or anything like that, but as far as using a likeness of something or whatever, and you're actually shooting like a Snickers commercial or some type of product.
I guess people have just gotten confused about that. It's like, okay, you're filming me, so you have to pay me.
Right.
If I film a commercial for Snickers, say like you said,
right,
you were going to be in it, then yes, I would have to pay you, or I'd have to get you to sign off on it.
And I think that's where you see it from the civilian side of things. People,
right.
Authority figures, law enforcement, federal officials, or anything like that. The pushback you get from society a lot of times is they've got the myth about that, and they have intertwined the commercialization into just filming in public, because not everybody had cameras up until recently. Not everybody had a camera in their hand.
Yeah, and that's what
the advancement of technology wasn't there. So they're still stuck in the 80s and 90s for some reason, and they haven't realized that everybody has cameras. So, in other words, in those days, mainly when you saw filming in public, it was either it had to do with the news or it had to do with filming commercials. So I think that's what society gets it wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
And most of the time it was or a tourist out, you know, in a tourist area, being
right.
touristy with the camera. Hey,
don't take pictures. That's illegal, you know.
Yeah, I got news now, Houston.
Are we the only ones here?
No, it's MJ, you, Bama, me.
Hey, are y'all having a discussion, or can I just throw something in?
Well, she's done with what she wanted to get done, so we're just talking now. So you can go ahead.
I was just curious, how is that corpus audit doing for you on your channel?
Good.
Okay. Yeah, because it has held at 13,000 views consistently since the day it went up. I just looked at it a little while ago, and it's still up there at that 13,000 views.
Yeah, yours is doing better than mine, but you got a bigger channel than I do, so.
Well, yeah, but it's the views. People
good.
are, for some reason, that video connected with people, and they're watching it.
Yeah, it was good.
I know.
Alan, speaking of views and channels, my channel just rolled 2,000 subscribers today. Yay!
All right. I remember that day. Yeah. I was all excited when I got to 1,000.
Yeah, I am just hitting 19,000.
Yeah, we were looking the other night. You were at like 18.
Yeah, I'm doing about 1,800 subscribers, 1,800 to 2,000 subscribers a month.
I'm jelly beans. I'm jelly.
I dropped out for a little while. I lost a subscriber. I had a little over 3,000, and I lost them back down to, I think it's 26 or something.
Yeah.
They'll come back.
There's something wrong with their subscriber counts right now. I got a message today that they were off and that they were fixing them. Yeah,
something from January.
Yeah.
Well, I spent my afternoon fighting with the FBI.
Well, we are recording right now, so we're still on a show, so.
Oh, are we? Okay. Are we live?
No, we're not live.
Okay, so you can edit this out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give individual citizens a little bit of power with a camera, you know, and that's what it is. It is power, because they know they can't do nothing about it. They try. Then just like as we've seen all the time, me, news, BB, I mean, you name it, charges are always dismissed, and they can't stand it.
Yeah.
That's like they're doing to in San Antonio here to Jack. What is it, 6 or 7 times now? They've given him tickets for cussing or flipping off, and they drop them each time, and they
they
do it,
keep
and
giving
they still
tickets. They keep getting dismissed. It's just harassment.
Yeah, they do it just to harass him, just to put him through having to go through the trouble of doing it, which they don't understand. It just brings him back down here to get better videos of them screwing up more.
That's what it is what they don't realize is they're giving him the ammunition.
Yeah. Here it is on the silver platter.
Yeah, because that's going to bring up a federal case because it's showing a repetitive harassment. It's repetitive.
Right.
You know?
News Now, I just sent a link and posted it on Shell's, the Shell Corporation, the main corporation itself. I just sent that link of Tim Hill harassing me and posted it on their main wall.
Back in the day, the Texas Rangers would come clean up a police department. I don't know if they do that anymore, but they did it to shirts years ago.
Not a unionized police department. They can't.
Yeah, well, they used to, but that was probably before. That was back when I was in high school, or shortly after. So I don't know what they do now, but back then they would do that. I don't know what you could do to really clean up a corrupt police department like San Antonio.
Dissolve it.
It's that union, in my opinion. Everywhere.
Dissolve it. That's all you can do. Dissolve it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's too many people that support them. You'd never be able to get it done.
That's it.
Yeah, so
the only way that you could have it done, I believe, is the FBI. The FBI can come in and shut down a police station.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
it's happened here in Florida twice.
It's happened, yeah. It's happened, twice in Florida, up in Wisconsin. It's happened. But that's goes back to, it's not really the FBI per se. At least the ones I know of in Florida and Wisconsin, it wasn't the FBI. That's what we was talking about earlier. It's freaking insurance companies are sick of putting up with the crap.
Well, and I read an article the other day. I'd have to dig it back up, but there was the Fraternal Order of Police is associated with the AFL-CIO, and the AFL-CIO is so sick of all the negative publicity that these police unions are getting because of the shit they're doing, that they're about to drop the FOP. And so the FOP will not be a legitimate union anymore. That's going to be interesting.
Well, wasn't there an article a while back? Was it the head of the FBI or somebody said that people need to quit filming the police because it's making them look bad? It was like, yes. It's making them look bad.
Yes. The videographer is not making them look bad. They're making themselves look bad.
Exactly. We're just reporting on it.
We're just the messenger. The message is theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, that was James Carney, sure enough.
Like, we're not writing the script for them, man. They're writing it for us.
Well, I had a guy, an airman that just got out of the Air Force that is buddies with that airman that arrested Silent Citizen. I was going back and forth with him today, and I told him to have that other airman, the airman that actually did the arrest, to contact me. Basically, what I'm getting is, that airman, all he did was he didn't know what to do, and so they were telling him on the radio to detain Silent Citizen, and then the captain came out there, and he was the one that determined to make the arrest, not that airman. So we need to focus on that captain. This airman is getting death threats and all kinds of stuff, and I really think that he's just their fall guy.
Maybe, but he should have known. If he takes that position, he should know the laws that are around it. It's not that hard.
Well, I agree, but if he is instructed by an officer to do something, he's going to do it. That's the nature of being in the military.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier, and I hate to say this, and
did you hear that the Nazis say the same thing?
Yeah, just doing your job, and I hate to say this, but I listened to a guy named Jordan Peterson. He's this Canadian, and he's on the SJW thing about using force and coercion to take away free speech and then making you say things, and he's kind of in that thing or whatever. But anyway, I don't want to get in depth about it, but psychologically, yeah, I'm guilty of it too. I was in And if they told me to do something, it's just, I don't question. Just freaking do it. Don't even think about it. And that's
short of murder or anything like that.
If you knew it was illegal, would you still do it?
Well, that's just illegal. Well, you can't follow unlawful orders. But if they made it legal, I mean, I hate guilty.
Well, but here's the thing. I honestly don't think that they realized that they were wrong. They thought that that was their property, you know, and therein lies the confusion. Yeah. So, you know, but was it excessive? Absolutely. He should have been given a chance to leave, and then he could have gone and determined whether that was, you know, whose property that was at a later date. Okay, they were just being the totalitarian idiots that they want to be. You know, those officers are so used to the enlisted jumping when they say jump, and here they got a guy that's not. And so they tried to be dickheads. Well, guess what? That dick move is going to cost them some money.
Well, the thing is, though, is with the general orders, and you learn your general orders when you go through basic training, general orders tell you that you will take charge of your property and all property within your view. And that's within the Army and the military's general orders. So he's operating under the assumption that any property within his view is his property.
In the Army, I will guard everything within the limits of my post. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but if that this is directed toward MJ, if that's true, then he can walk across the street, down the block, and screw with somebody that's not even near the base.
Right. No, I understand what you guys are saying. I'm just saying that that's the mentality that when I went through in 1990 and I did my base.
Well, and I've said this before, and I don't know if it's been on one of the videos, but I know somebody who was in the OSI for a long, long time. And he even told me himself that when you're on base, you have to be careful about what your jurisdiction is, because just because it's on base doesn't mean it's their jurisdiction. Just like when we were in Corpus and you saw that gate running off that property.
Right.
That property that gate goes to may not be base property. It could be belonging to a farmer or a rancher that's still inside that base boundary, but they have no jurisdiction over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Jurisdiction's a funny thing. And when it comes to dealing with civilians, they have got to be extra, extra careful. And in this case, they weren't. And it's going to bite them in the ass. Elijah's going to end up suing them, and he's going to win. They'll settle because they're wrong.
And they should have known better, though.
You know, they should know better, but here's the thing. Nobody's ever challenged them on it before. So they had no reason to know better. But that just comes back to their response. Their response should have been more moderate. We're not putting a civilian in jail. We're just going to tell him to leave, and if he leaves, fine. And if he doesn't, well, then we'll do something. They didn't give him that chance. They came out there with the attitude of, you know, you're a civilian, you don't belong here, we're going to put you in jail. Well, guess what? That's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And if I find out who that captain is, and I will in time, when I find out who he is, I'm going to get this enlisted guy off the hook, and I'm going to hang that captain by his toes.
Yeah, that'd be good. If you find out that's true, that it was the captain that, you know, did that. Even
Elijah's already said it's true. Elijah said it's true.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. He did. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
But I still think the trooper, I mean, the guy that, the sergeant or whatever it was, he wasn't even a sergeant, was he?
Yeah, he's a E5, I believe.
Okay.
A sergeant in the Air Force, though, is an E4, I think.
All
pretty sure.
Oh,
I think.
Okay. Well, he was just promoted. And
he still should have known better.
I agree. But I didn't hear the conversations. He may have known better. He may have objected to the arrest. I don't know. I didn't hear that conversation. So, but what I do know is that officer stepped up and said, you know, bring the charges. So Glendale knew better and wanted to play, and that captain should have known better. So, like I said, when I find out who that captain is, and I will, when I get Elijah's paperwork, I'm going to hang that captain out to dry.